So the one thing that we've noticed about cloud is they keep making new things. And sometimes they get rid of old things, which makes
you're
one
talking
wonder.
about Google now.
Well, Google is definitely the worst when it comes, the biggest offender when it comes to this sort of thing. I think Oracle actually got, or at least discontinued their Gen 1 version of everything they did in their cloud as well.
Well, they had to focus on TikTok.
Yeah, well, obviously. AWS has been pretty good. They will discontinue or push you away from certain services, but they never stop supporting them necessarily.
Exactly.
And Azure, they do the Microsoft thing. They try to push you in the direction, but they also continue to support for a long time. So I guess my concern is if I really go down the avenue with any of these SD-WAN third-party products or one of the cloud native things, like, am I going to be able to support this thing or get support for whatever I set up in 3 to 5 years? Or is it, just good luck and I hope you can support it yourself?
Well, obviously stay away from Google.
Yes.
Also, I don't think that you need 80% of the new services that Azure and AWS are rolling out to implement a traditional enterprise workload. What you really need is some networking, some backhaul, compute, security groups, some load balancing, some WAF.
Yeah, they say the vast majority of the services concerned in AWS is EC2.
Exactly.
And
so you get that up and running, and it's been pretty stable, and it's been around for ages. And they both support very early attempts that have been discouraged for 5 years now, at least. So I'm not worried that, if you deploy something using current technology today, it wouldn't be supported in those two in 5 years. I mean, things may change, but, you ever bought a Cisco box? Was it supported 5 years from now? It depends.
Well, I mean, your point is, if you stick with the core services, then yes, it's going to be supported. It's going to be fine. If you start leveraging every new thing that AWS is flinging about with every reInvent announcement, then you're putting yourself at risk that the thing maybe
well,
not.
Then you get the cloud you deserve.
Not the cloud you need, but the cloud you deserve.
Yes.
So vendors have definitely a vested interest, especially the cloud providers, in helping you sort of solve this multi-cloud networking thing in a way that lines their pockets a little bit more. And then there's all these third-party vendors that are trying to also find a way. So is this something we're really going to be debating in 2 years, or is multi-cloud networking just kind of going to fade into the background just like IaaS and PaaS do today? It's just, that thing, that it just works.
Well, you remember the OpenFlow discussions and software-defined discussions and intent-based discussions and all those discussions?
I tried to stay away.
And nothing came out of that at all.
Well,
we did
start
automating a few things, and the whole thing pushed vendors to at least open some APIs or give you REST API on their box, which then encodes show printout into an HTTP response that you still have to parse.
Yes.
That's all we got from this SDM brouhaha in the last 7 or 8 years. So I think that, the problem is that, as Corey explained in his blog post, people are moving to the cloud. And that makes traditional vendors slowly irrelevant. And of course, they're trying to find a new niche where they could sell you their stuff. And one of the potential niches is multi-cloud. So of course, everyone is talking about multi-cloud because they hope that they will persuade you that you will buy some of their stuff. 5 years from now, when people finally realize that IP is IP is IP and packet filter is a packet filter is a packet filter, it may be called network security group, or it may be called application security group, or it may be called security group. It's still the same thing. And when they realize that Azure and AWS have differences, but they are more similar than different, and when they figure out that, like you install software on Ubuntu with apt and you install software on Fedora with yum, and we all mastered both, we will master the intricacies of whatever 2 or 3 public clouds we are forced to work with. And then this multi-cloud thing will no longer be a thing.
Which goes
Remember
back to
how many package managers we had for Linux?
yeah. So really, we're coming back around full circle here. I mean, we're making the argument that although there is this market segment called multi-cloud networking, what we're really dealing with is, at the end of the day, fundamental IP, fundamental packet filtering. And yes, there are all of these intricacies about how AWS and Azure and so on do their networking that we, as traditional network engineers, maybe don't understand all of the details of, and so it feels a little intimidating, and there's these unexpected limitations. But once we get a handle on that, then we'll just stand up our IPsec tunnels, or maybe we will use SD-WAN and follow that model, and that's going to be fine. We're not going to need some third-party product to do the unicorn magic for us. And therefore, in 2 years' time, 3 years' time, we're not really having this multi-cloud conversation. It's just kind of like, yeah, we connect them up. We connect up our different points of presence, and that's fine.
Yeah, because, public clouds are different. But so is Cisco CLI and Junos CLI and Arista CLI, and we manage that.
Yeah, okay.
It looked so scary when you had to deal with a second vendor, and then you just got over it.
You have to remember, Ethan, you are the unicorn.